Stop everything for a moment and take a hard look at the half dollars you've seen, spent, or ignored over the years. Most people believe half dollars are boring, outdated, or only valuable if they contain silver. That belief has caused some of the most important and collectible half dollars to slip through people's hands unnoticed. Today, we are revealing the old top 4 half-dollar coins that every collector, hunter, and everyday person should know about. These coins are not just money. They are history, power, and hidden opportunity. Some were overlooked because they came from the post-silver era, others because people didn't understand condition rarity or mint errors. What all 4 have in common is this: they reward those who look closer. Before you dismiss any old half-dollar as just 50 cents, you need to understand why these 4 coins stand above the rest, and why collectors are quietly watching them right now. So let's get started. First up, P1972D. Mint Mark Kennedy half dollar is an old modern era coin that many people underestimate, yet it holds a surprisingly important place in U.S. numismatics. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin comes from a time when half dollars were already fading from everyday circulation, creating a unique situation where large numbers were produced, but very few were truly preserved in high-quality condition. Understanding this coin requires looking beyond silver content and focusing instead on condition rarity, strike quality, and collector demand. The obverse features the enduring portrait of John F. Kennedy, a design introduced in 1964 and still one of the most emotionally powerful images in American coinage. On strong 1972 D strikes, Kennedy's hair above the ear shows clear separation. The cheek and jawline are well defined, and the fields remain smooth with original mint luster. The word Liberty arches across the top, while In God We Trust and the date 1972 appear in front of the portrait. Collectors carefully inspect these areas for weakness, doubling, or unusual die characteristics that can elevate a coin above the ordinary. Strike quality is a major factor for this issue. Many 1972 D half dollars were struck quickly using worn dies, which can result in flat hair details and soft lettering. Coins that display strong definition immediately stand out. Luster is equally important. Original cartwheel luster that flows evenly across the surface is a key indicator of an uncirculated example. Dull or muted surfaces often signal improper storage or light circulation. The reverse displays the presidential seal, dominated by a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide. The eagle holds an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength, while a shield rests proudly on its chest. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states, and the inscriptions, United States of America, and half dollar surround the design. On high-quality 1972 D coins, the eagle's breast feathers, shield lines, and star details appear crisp and bold. Weak reverse detail is common for this year, making strong examples far more desirable. The D mint mark on the reverse identifies Denver as the striking facility. Denver-produced half dollars are known for solid output, but quality vary depending on die condition and striking pressure. Collectors often compare Denver coins to Philadelphia issues to find the sharpest strikes and cleanest surfaces. For 1972, Denver coins with strong reverse detail are particularly challenging to locate. By 1972, Kennedy half dollars were fully copper-nickel clad, consisting of outer layers of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. There is no silver content, which led many people to dismiss these coins for decades. However, experienced collectors know that metal content is only one aspect of value. Condition rarity often outweighs composition, especially for coins that were poorly preserved as a group. Mintage numbers for the 1972 D half dollar were high, reaching into the tens of millions. On paper, this suggests abundance. In reality, most of these coins were stored in large mint bags or entered circulation briefly before being set aside. Bag storage caused heavy contact marks, scuffs, and abrasions that permanently damaged surfaces. As a result, truly clean, mark-free examples are far scarcer than mintage figures suggest. Condition is the defining factor for this coin today. Circulated examples with visible wear, flattened hair details, and dull surfaces typically trade close to face value. Uncirculated coins with full mint luster and minimal contact marks command premiums, especially as the grade increases. Coins graded MS65 are desirable, but MS66 and above become increasingly difficult to find, with values rising sharply due to limited population numbers. At higher grades, every tiny flaw matters. A single contact mark in the field or a small abrasion on Kennedy's cheek can prevent a coin from reaching the next grade. This is why collectors place such high importance on surface preservation and eye appeal. Coins that appear clean, bright, and well-struck often outperform technically similar examples with less visual impact. Mint errors add significant excitement to the 1972 D half-dollar. Collectors search for off-center strikes, broad strikes, clip planchets, double strikes, and coins with die cracks or cut errors. While major errors are uncommon, they do exist and can sell for many times face value. Even smaller errors, when clearly visible and confirmed as mint-made, can greatly increase collector interest. Die varieties are another important area. Double dies, die chips, and unusual die markers can create collectible varieties that specialists actively pursue. These varieties often go unnoticed by casual collectors, making careful inspection with magnification essential. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance may reveal something special upon closer examination. The 1972 D half-dollar also reflects changing public behavior toward the denomination. By the early 1970s, half-dollars were no longer widely used in daily commerce. Many people viewed them as inconvenient, leading to neglect and improper storage. This unusual usage pattern contributed to the scarcity of high-grade survivors today. From a historical perspective, this coin represents the post-silver era of U.S. coinage, a period defined by rising metal costs and economic shifts. The Kennedy half-dollar series from this era tells a story of transition, where emotional significance and design continuity replaced precious metal value. Collectors who appreciate this context often view the 1972 D as an undervalued piece of history. Long-term demand for Kennedy half-dollars remains strong. The series appeals to a wide range of collectors, from beginners to advanced specialists. As more collectors attempt to build complete date-and-mint sets in high grade, pressure increases on the limited supply of premium condition coins, particularly Denver issues, like the 1972 D. Proper storage is essential to protect potential value. Coins should always be handled by the edges and stored in protective holders away from moisture, friction, and fingerprints. Even clad coins can suffer permanent surface damage if mishandled. For especially clean examples, professional grading provides authentication, protection, and market credibility. The most common mistake people make with coins like the 1972 D half-dollar is assuming that age without silver equals no value. History proves this belief wrong repeatedly. Condition rarity, error scarcity, and collector demand can transform overlooked modern coins into desirable collectibles over time. The 1972 D Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar is more than just an old 50-cent piece. It is a reflection of American history, a continuation of an iconic series, and a reminder that true value often hides in plain sight. Careful examination, patience, and knowledge are the keys to unlocking its full potential. Next up, the 1985 P half-dollar was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a time when half-dollars were already disappearing from everyday use. Although they were still being produced in large numbers, they were no longer commonly seen in circulation. This alone makes the 1985 P half-dollar interesting, because many coins from this period were stored, mishandled, or ignored rather than actively used. Over time, this created a surprising scarcity of truly high-quality examples. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy, a design that has remained unchanged since its introduction in 1964. Kennedy's image represents leadership, remembrance, and national pride. On well-struck 1985 P examples, the hair details above the ear are sharp, the cheek and jawline show strong definition, and the fields appear smooth with original mint luster. The word Liberty arcs boldly along the top, while In God We Trust and the date, 1985, appear clearly in front of the portrait. Collectors closely examine the obverse for strike strength and surface quality. Weak strikes can result in flat hair details or soft lettering, while stronger strikes show crisp lines and depth. Contact marks, scratches, and dull surfaces are common on coins from this era, which is why clean examples stand out so dramatically. Even small differences in surface quality can significantly affect a coin's grade and value. Turning to the reverse, the presidential seal commands attention. The eagle stands with wings spread wide, holding an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. A shield rests on the eagle's chest, and a ring of stars above represents the states. Surrounding the design are the inscriptions, United States of America, and $50. On premium examples, the eagle's feathers, shield lines, and stars are sharp and fully defined. Reverse strike quality is especially important on 1985 $50. Many coins from this period show weakness in the eagle's breast feathers due to die wear and production pressure. Coins with strong reverse detail are far scarcer and much more desirable to collectors. Luster should flow evenly across the surface, creating a bright cartwheel effect when the coin is tilted under light. The P mint mark on the reverse identifies this coin as a Philadelphia mint issue. By 1985, Philadelphia was producing massive quantities of coins, often prioritizing speed over perfection. This means that while many coins exist, few were struck with exceptional quality. Collectors often search through rolls and collections to find those rare examples that escaped heavy bag marks and careless handling. The composition of the 1985 $50 is copper-nickel clad, with outer layers of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. Although it contains no silver, this does not diminish its collector potential. Modern coin collecting has repeatedly shown that condition rarity can outweigh metal content. Coins without precious metal can still become highly desirable if few survive in top condition. Mintage numbers for the 1985 $50 were high, reaching into the tens of millions. At first glance, this suggests the coin is common. However, raw mintage figures do not tell the real story. Most of these coins were stored in large bags, where they collided with each other, creating heavy contact marks that permanently damaged their surfaces. As a result, truly clean, mark-free examples are surprisingly scarce today. Condition is the most important factor when evaluating an old modern $50 like the 1985 P. Circulated examples typically trade near face value, especially if they show wear on Kennedy's hair or flattening on the eagle's details. Uncirculated coins with full original luster and minimal contact marks can command strong premiums. Coins graded MS66 and higher are particularly difficult to find and highly sought after. As grades increase, population numbers drop sharply. This creates competition among collectors who want the best possible examples for their sets. At the highest levels, even a single small scratch or contact mark can prevent a coin from reaching the next grade. This makes true gem quality 1985 $50 far more valuable than most people expect. Mint errors add another layer of excitement to this coin. Collectors search for off-center strikes, broad strikes, clip planchets, double strikes, and coins with die cracks or cut errors. While major errors are uncommon, they do exist and can sell for many times face value. Even minor but visually appealing errors can significantly increase collector interest when confirmed as mint-made. Die varieties are also worth attention. Double dies, die chips, and unusual die markers can create collectible varieties that specialists actively pursue. These details often go unnoticed by casual collectors, which is why careful inspection with magnification is essential. What looks ordinary at first glance can reveal something special under closer examination. The 1985 $50 also reflects a turning point in public behavior. By the mid-1980s, $50 were rarely used in everyday transactions. Many people viewed them as inconvenient or unnecessary, which led to widespread neglect. This reduced circulation did not guarantee preservation, however. Many coins were mishandled, stacked, and stored improperly, contributing to the scarcity of high-grade survivors today. From a historical perspective, this coin represents the maturity of the Kennedy $50 series. It stands firmly in the post-silver era, a time when coinage focused on durability and cost efficiency rather than precious metal content. Collectors who appreciate this period understand that these coins tell an important story about economic change and evolving public attitudes toward money. Long-term demand for Kennedy half dollars remains strong. The series appeals to beginners, advanced collectors, and investors alike. As more collectors work to complete full date-in mint sets in high grade, pressure increases on the limited supply of premium condition coins, especially issues like the 1985 P. Proper storage is essential for protecting value. Coins should always be handled by the edges and stored in protective holders to prevent scratches, fingerprints, and environmental damage. Even-clad coins can suffer permanent surface damage if handled improperly. For especially clean examples, professional grading offers authentication, preservation, and increased market confidence. The biggest mistake people make with coins like the 1985 P half dollar is assuming they have no future simply because they are not silver. History has proven this belief wrong time and time again. Condition rarity, era scarcity, and collector demand can transform overlooked modern coins into highly desirable collectibles. Ultimately, the old 1985 P mint mark half dollar is far more than a forgotten 50-cent piece. It is a snapshot of American coinage history, a continuation of one of the most iconic U.S. coin series, and a reminder that true value often hides in plain sight. The next time you see one, don't dismiss it. Look closer, because you may be holding a coin that collectors quietly seek and appreciate. Next up, the 1973 D half dollar was struck at the Denver Mint during a time of major transition in U.S. coinage. By this point, half dollars no longer contained silver, having shifted to a copper-nickel clad composition in 1971. Many collectors initially dismissed these coins because they lacked precious metal content. However, history has repeatedly shown that value is not determined by silver alone. Condition rarity, mint errors, and long-term collector demand play a powerful role, and the 1973 D half dollar fits directly into that story. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy, a design that has become one of the most recognizable in American coinage. Introduced in 1964, the Kennedy half dollar design symbolizes national pride, remembrance, and leadership. On well-struck 1973 D examples, Kennedy's hairlines are sharp, the cheek and jaw show strong definition, and the fields appear smooth with vibrant mint luster. The word liberty curves boldly around the top, while In God We Trust and the date 1973 appear clearly in front of the portrait. Collectors pay close attention to strike quality on the obverse. Weak strikes can result in flat hair details or soft lettering, while strong strikes show crisp lines and depth. Even small differences in strike quality can have a major impact on desirability, especially when comparing high-grade examples. Doubling, die deterioration, or unusual spacing in the lettering can also signal potential varieties worth closer inspection. Turning the coin over reveals the powerful presidential seal on the reverse. The eagle stands with wings spread wide, clutching an olive branch and arrows, representing peace and strength. A shield rests on the eagle's chest, and a ring of stars above symbolizes the states. Surrounding the design are the inscriptions, United States of America, and half dollar. On premium examples, the eagle's feathers are fully defined, the shield lines are sharp, and the stars are clean and distinct. Reverse strike quality is especially important for the 1973 D half dollar. Many coins from this era show weakness in the eagle's breast feathers or shield due to production pressures. Strongly struck coins are noticeably scarcer and far more desirable to collectors seeking top-condition pieces. Luster should flow evenly across the reverse surface, creating a cartwheel effect when the coin is tilted under light. The D mint mark, located on the reverse below the eagle, identifies the coin as a Denver Mint issue. Denver-struck coins are known for solid production, but like all mints, quality vary depending on die condition and striking pressure. Collectors often compare Denver coins to their Philadelphia counterparts to find the strongest strikes and cleanest surfaces. Mintage figures for the 1973 D Kennedy half dollar were high, with tens of millions produced. At first glance, This suggests the coin is common. However, raw mintage numbers do not tell the full story. Most of these coins entered circulation or were stored in large bags, where they picked up heavy contact marks, scuffs, and abrasions. Truly clean, mark-free examples are much scarcer than most people realize. Condition is the single most important factor when determining the value of a 1973 D-half dollar. Circulated coins typically trade near face value, especially if they show wear on Kennedy's hair or flattening on the eagle's details. Uncirculated coins with full mint luster and minimal contact marks can command premiums, particularly as the grade rises. Coins graded MS-65 are desirable, but MS-66 and above become increasingly difficult to locate. At these levels, even tiny flaws can prevent a coin from reaching the next grade. This is where collectors focus their attention, because population numbers drop sharply at higher grades, driving demand and value. Mint errors are another area where the 1973 D-half dollar can shine. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, clip planchets, double strikes, and coins with die cracks or cut errors are all possible. While major errors are not common, they do exist and can sell for many times face value. Even minor but clearly visible errors can dramatically increase collector interest when confirmed as genuine mint-made mistakes. Die varieties also play a role in collector demand. Double dies, die chips, and unusual die markers can create collectible subvarieties that specialists actively seek. These details often go unnoticed by casual collectors, which is why careful examination with magnification is essential. What looks like an ordinary coin at first glance can reveal something special upon closer inspection. Another important factor is how these coins were handled and stored after minting. Many 1973 D-half dollars were placed into bank bags where they knocked against each other, creating bag marks that permanently affected their surfaces. Coins that escaped this fate and remained in rolls, mint sets, or careful storage are far more valuable today. The 1973 D-half dollar also reflects a shift in public use of the denomination. By the early 1970s, half dollars were no longer commonly used in everyday transactions. This reduced circulation created an unusual situation. Fewer coins were worn down through daily use, but many were mishandled or ignored. This contributes to the scarcity of truly high-quality examples today. From a historical standpoint, the 1973 D. Kennedy half dollar represents the post-silver era and the evolution of American coinage. It tells a story of economic change, rising metal costs, and shifting public attitudes toward money. Collectors who appreciate this transitional period often view these coins as undervalued pieces of history. Long-term demand for Kennedy half dollars remains strong. The series appeals to beginners, advanced collectors, and investors alike. As more collectors aim to complete high-grade date and mint sets, pressure increases on the limited supply of premium condition coins, especially those from Denver. Proper storage is critical for preserving value. Coins should always be handled by the edges and stored in protective holders to prevent scratches, fingerprints, and environmental damage. Even modern-clad coins can suffer permanent surface damage if handled improperly. For especially clean examples, professional grading provides authentication, protection, and increased market confidence. The biggest mistake many people make is assuming that non-silver coins have no future value. History proves otherwise. Condition rarity, error scarcity, and collector demand can transform overlooked coins into highly desirable collectibles over time. The 1973 D-half dollar is a perfect example of this principle. Ultimately, this coin is more than just 50 cents. It is a piece of American history, a continuation of a beloved presidential series, and a reminder that value often hides in plain sight. The next time you encounter a 1973 D. Kennedy half dollar, take a closer look, because what seems ordinary today could become a prized collectible tomorrow. The 1978 half dollar with no mint mark is a fascinating modern-era coin that many people overlook, yet it holds an important place in U.S. coin history and collector interest. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the absence of a mint mark immediately tells us where it was produced. For collectors, no mint mark coins often spark curiosity, because they represent the primary production source of U.S. coinage during that era and frequently account for the highest quality strikes when preserved correctly. The obverse of the 1978 half dollar features the powerful portrait of John F. Kennedy, a design first introduced in 1964 following the president's assassination. By 1978, this design had become deeply ingrained in American culture. Kennedy's profile is bold and dignified, with sharp lines in the hair, cheek, and jaw on well-struck examples. The word liberty arcs along the top, while In God We Trust and the date 1978 appear clearly in front of the portrait. Collectors carefully study these elements, looking for strong strikes, clean fields, and any unusual doubling or weakness in the lettering. The reverse of the coin displays the presidential seal, featuring a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states, and surrounding the design are the inscriptions, United States of America and half dollar. On high-grade coins, the eagle's feathers, shield lines, and star details appear crisp and well-defined. Any softness in these areas can indicate wear or a weaker strike, which directly impacts collector value. One of the most important aspects of the 1978 no-mint mark half dollar is its composition. By this time, half dollars were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This change, made in 1971, marked the full transition away from silver half dollars. While the coin contains no precious metal, its value lies in condition, rarity of errors, and collector demand rather than bullion content. Mintage figures for the 1978 Philadelphia half dollar were relatively high, with tens of millions produced. On the surface, this might suggest the coin is common, but raw mintage numbers can be misleading. Many of these coins entered circulation and suffered heavy wear, bag marks, and surface damage. Truly well-preserved examples with full luster and minimal contact marks are far scarcer than the mintage figure implies, especially in grades above MS65. Condition is everything when evaluating a 1978 no-mint mark half dollar. Circulated examples typically trade close to face value, especially if they show obvious wear, scratches, or dull surfaces. However, uncirculated coins with original mint luster, clean fields, and strong strikes can command a premium. Coins graded MS66 and above become increasingly difficult to find, and values rise sharply as population numbers drop at higher grades. Strike quality is another key factor collectors consider. Some 1978 half dollars were struck with slightly weaker pressure, resulting in flat hair details on Kennedy or less defined feathers on the eagle. Strongly struck examples stand out immediately and are far more desirable. Luster should appear vibrant and cartwheel-like, moving smoothly across the surface when tilted under light. Mint errors add another layer of excitement to the 1978 half dollar. Collectors actively search for off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, double strikes, and coins with die cracks or cut errors. While major errors are uncommon, they do exist and can sell for many times face value. Even minor errors, when clearly visible and confirmed as mint-made, can significantly increase collector interest. Die varieties are also worth noting. Double dies, repunched elements, or unusual die markers can create collectible varieties that specialists pursue. These details are often missed by casual collectors, which is why careful examination with magnification is so important. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance can reveal something special under closer inspection. Another overlooked factor is how 1978 half dollars were stored after minting. Many were kept in bank bags, where they developed heavy contact marks from being stacked and transported. Coins that escape this fate and remain relatively mark-free are far more valuable. This is why original rolls, mint sets, and carefully stored collections are often the best sources for high-quality examples. The 1978 no-mint mark half dollar also reflects changing public use of half dollars. By the late 1970s, half dollars were no longer commonly used in everyday transactions. This reduced circulation meant fewer people actively saved them, while those that did circulate often saw limited but careless handling. This unusual usage pattern contributes to condition rarity today. From a historical perspective, this coin represents the post-silver era of U.S. coinage, a time when practicality and cost efficiency replaced precious metal content. Collectors who appreciate this transitional period see the 1978 half dollar as part of a broader story about economic change, public perception of money, and evolving mint technology. Long-term collector demand for Kennedy half dollars has remained steady for decades. The series appeals to both beginner and advanced collectors, ensuring continued interest. As more collectors seek high-grade examples to complete date-in-mint sets, pressure increases on the limited supply of top-condition coins, especially those from Philadelphia with no mint mark. Proper storage is critical for preserving value. Coins should always be handled by the edges and stored in protective holders away from moisture and friction. Fingerprints, even on clad coins, can permanently damage surfaces and reduce grade potential. For coins that appear especially clean and well-struck, professional grading can provide authentication, protection, and increased market confidence. The biggest mistake many people make with coins like the 1978 half dollar is assuming that modern, non-silver coins have no future value. History has shown that condition rarity and collector demand can transform overlooked coins into desirable collectibles over time. What matters is not age alone, but preservation, scarcity at high grades, and sustained interest. The 1978 no-mint mark half dollar is a perfect example of this principle. While millions were struck, very few survive today in exceptional condition. Those who recognize this early and preserve the best examples position themselves ahead of the market. Ultimately, this coin is more than just a 50-cent piece. It is a snapshot of American coinage in transition, a continuation of a beloved presidential series, and a reminder that value often hides in plain sight. Careful examination, patience, and knowledge are the keys to unlocking the true potential of the 1978 no-mint mark half dollar.